the phrases I find myself saying most every day, whether it be actual, live dialogue or on Twitter or whatever it is in writing, is this idea that somebody's got to step up and be better. I often use the Gandhi quote, somebody's got to be the change they supposedly want to see in the world, right? Everybody's looking for a better country. They're looking for change. They're looking for true good heroes to step up and save the day. At some point, somebody has to do that. Somebody in a position of power has to do exactly that. And I think I say that so much and it's so relevant just because of the current dynamics in our political environment right now, right? You could take someone like Trump, right? Let's start at the top. Let's take Donald Trump, regardless of how you feel about him. Let's just use it as a thought exercise. People that support Trump, right? Good people that support Trump. And right there, I'm going to lose some people, frankly, that are going to say there's no good people that support Trump. I don't believe that. To me, that's too simple. It's unproductive to assume that anybody that supports him is evil. He may be evil, right? That's debatable. But I don't think it's necessarily true that if he's evil, anybody that supports him is evil. There's too much of that that's existed throughout the history of time, that sometimes good people just are manipulated or influenced or make bad decisions or are in it for the right reasons, and then it allows for some evil, whatever. But anyways, that aside, the good people that support Trump, I assume they have to believe that Democrats and liberals are making this kind of forward march assault on the country and our values and our liberties, and Donald Trump is there to protect. He is the one stepping in to save the day. If not for Donald Trump, as bad as the country seems right now, it would be significantly worse. If not for him stepping in and doing the things he's doing to fight the good fight, right? That's got to be a strong piece of the logic, I would assume. And it's relevant because that type of thinking is very hard to combat. If you genuinely believe that the other side is the enemy and is the problem, who can tell you differently that you would listen to, right? The other side's going to say, hey, he's the problem. He's clearly the problem. He's got to go. But I believe you're the enemy. So of course you would say that. So dismissed. Obviously, Trump and his team and his people and people that support him, believe in him, aren't going to say it because either they're drinking the Kool-Aid or they're in on the game or whatever, right? They believe it's all for good reason. So who's going to tell you? Who's going to say it, right? And there's detractors. There's people who he's fired and who've left his campaign or left his administration, or other Republicans that speak out against him now. But even that, you see it, right? It's too easy to muddy the water there. It's too easy to put it out there that, hey, this person's just disgruntled, or they were never that good anyway, or they're really liberals, whatever it is, right? It's a very hard argument to come off of, that I believe Trump's saving the day. If not for him, we'd be worse off. It's a very hard thing to disprove. So if you're a liberal or you're a Democrat, or let's even say you're a Republican who doesn't support Trump, and you're trying to get other people to believe it, you're trying to get other people to see it, well, then you're running into the predicament I just stated. And you say, well, what do you do? What's the right course of action? How do you handle that, if anything? What seems to be happening at most is trying to fight fire with fire. Trying to yell so loudly, to overwhelm, to sensationalize to an extent, but ultimately to try and publicize as much as possible the reasons why, as a liberal or a Democrat, somebody might think Trump is a huge problem and you should not support him anymore. But again, you still have that issue. It doesn't matter how loud you yell. It doesn't matter how many pieces of evidence you bring forward. The credibility is not there. The logic is going to hold for that Trump supporter that, of course, you would say that. You're manipulating the facts, you're manipulating the evidence. So again, what do you do? Well, what I would say is what you definitely can't do is give them justification. Give them reason to believe that they are right in their logic and mindset. So as a liberal, Democratic, whatever it is, it could be a Republican that's trying to get rid of Trump, when you sensationalize, when you sacrifice truth for simplicity, when you sometimes manipulate information and try and play the game, if you will, to get your message across, you may be helping to build some support on your side, but all you're doing is digging in that Trump supporter more. They see that. They're looking for that. That's the main. If you didn't do that, some of them would grasp for it and say you were doing it anyway. But when you actually do it, they are locked in and laser focused to identify that, and they rip it out And it feeds that support because it says, I was right. I knew it. I knew they were the enemy. So that's what you definitely can't do. I get the inclination, I get the temptation to do it, but that can't be it. So I come back to what I said at the beginning of the video, the phrase I always say, right? Gandhi's phrase, be the change you want to supposedly see in the world. At some point, somebody's got to step up. So this could go either way. We're just using Trump as the example here. There's plenty of Democrats that fall into the same category, and you could do this the other way. But if you are a Democrat or a liberal that does not like Trump, or whoever doesn't like Trump and wants him out, you have to step up. You have to be the person. You have to build that credibility. The phrase I always use is you have to break the set. This idea that somebody can't distinguish if you're the enemy or if you're telling me the truth, because it would look the same either way. You have to break the set. You have to step up and be the change you want to see. Show us what it looks like. What does that mean? Call out your side as vehemently and as strongly as you would Trump. Because it's right, it's consistent, and it's logical. If your team is doing something wrong, call it out. Do it the right way. Objective truth should win. But as important as that maybe, is point B, is how productive and effective it is. It's the thing that's going to help you build that credibility. It's going to show, if your goal is to get rid of Trump in this scenario, counterintuitively possibly, but the best way you could do that is holding your side accountable. Because it's the third level implication of that. When you hold your side accountable, when you show credibility, when you build good faith, now those supporters on the other side, those Trump supporters, when they're trying to find that logic and find those things that they could stick to say Trump's saving the day, well, is he? Because some of those Democrats and liberals look like they're trying to save the day too. They're stepping up. And when something's wrong, they're calling it out regardless of the side. So when they tell me Trump's bad, do I just dismiss it? Can I possibly do it that easily? And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to oversimplify this and say it's magic and it'll be fixed in a day. But that mindset, that approach of being the change you want to see in the world, that approach of being the one to step up and finally do it, it has to start on your side. It's representative of self-improvement, right? You want something to be better. You have to fix yourself first, then you can go help others. Political parties, fix yourself first. Make sure you're questioning effectively, consistently, focused on objective truth. And I promise you, it will help to get to the objective you want, which is to get rid of the person you think is the bad faith actor.